Hi, this is Kim Jordan of the Philadelphia Orchard Project, and you are listening to Cider Chat.
Hello and welcome to Cider Chat. My name is Rhea Windcaller, and I am the producer and cider MC of this weekly podcast, where we speak with makers, cider enthusiasts, and folks within the cider trade from around the world. On this episode 228, we are speaking with Kim Jordan. She is the co-executive director of the Philadelphia Orchard Project. We'll be getting to that featured conversation in just a moment, but first, a wee bit of news out and about in Ciderville. Before we get to our featured conversation with Kim Jordan, I'd like to remind you, Ciderville, and yes, I am talking to you, that there is a new segment on the podcast called Stories in Ciderville. And this is for writers and aspiring writers. You don't need to have been published somewhere else before. So I'm really offering this as an opportunity for people who just love to write and tell stories. Anything to do with Ciderville, looking for non-technical stories. So if you have a question about is this a good topic, you could always send me an email and check in. And you submit the essay by recording it. And I recommend just doing it on your phone. Hold the phone in front of you, keep it steady, don't move it back and forth, and read your essay through. We're looking for essays that are 3,000 words or less. And then you just send it to me. Just press send and also send the written transcript of your essay too. And if you want to see an example of this, go to episode 226, which is titled Northern Spy and the Underground Railroad. A wonderful essay read by Ryan Monkman of Fieldbird Cider, and he's based up there in Ontario. So that's called Stories in Ciderville. That's the first reminder. Let me take a little pause here, and I want to give you another little tidbit to think about too, especially if you are in the commercial trade of cider.
Walking through the orchards, dancing in the streets, smelling all the blossoms, kicking up our feet.
One of the things that I didn't mention here is how you record that on your phone. So there's two different kinds of phones out there, and I am referring to smartphones. So if you have a flip phone, contact me, and we'll just record it in a different way. I'll let you know. But if you have an iPhone, it should have been downloaded with an app called Voice Recorder. So you could do a search for that. You just record it, you can listen to yourself, and then there's a share button. If you have an Android phone, then you want to look up on a Google Play Store, and these are free apps. The apps there are called Sound Recorder. Download that, and it's the same kind of format. You're able to record yourself, and then press send, and share it to Rhea, which is spelled R-I-A, at ciderchat.com. And wouldn't you know it, we do have an audio snapshot this week to share, and it came in from Red Island Cider. This is based in Prince Edward Island. That's on the eastern shore of Canada, a beautiful landscape, a burgeoning apple scene and cider scene. That cider is based right in the middle of Prince Edward Island in the town of Charlottetown. And this came from Robert Van Voorden. I just spoke about him last week on episode 227. So you should check out the letter that he wrote. It's really fun. And I just love this audio snapshot. So let's go to that next.
At Red Island Cider in Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island, Canada. We're just releasing our very first quince cider. We were inspired by what we were hearing on this podcast, and when one of our clients walked in with a grocery bag full of quince last fall, we decided to give it a try. We're very fortunate. We have only made 24 bottles, and today we drew 24 different names from a competition, and those people will have a chance to purchase one of these bottles, and we're going to give all the proceeds to a local Island Nature Trust charity organization here on the island. It's got some great aroma and some great flavor, and we're very excited to try more with this wonderful fruit.
Thank you, Robert, for sending in that audio snapshot from Red Island Cider, based in Charlottetown on Prince Edward Island. I think it's awesome that somebody brought in a bag of quince last fall. You made the small batch and had some really nice success with it. That gives me quite a bit of hope. How about you, Mr. Quince? What do you think about that?
I'm glad to hear that the quince there were fun to work with for Robert.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Not only that, that special aroma that comes from a quince.
Are you blushing, Mr. Quince?
Rhea, I think we need to move on.
He is blushing.
That's right, Lars. Mr. Quince, you're blushing. Hey, Robert, you made the quince here blush. That's awesome. All right, we're going to be moving on now with our featured conversation. Hey, Perry, why don't you get a little bit of water for Mr. Quince?
I'm on it, Rhea.
Thank you, Barry.
All right, here we go. We're going to go into this featured conversation with Kim Jordan next. Let me take a little pause here and we'll get right to that. Oh, and just in case you are a new listener to Cider Chat and you were wondering who Mr. Quince, Perry Pear, and the Medlars are, well, they are best known as the Talking Palms, and they are my cohorts here in the Cider House. So, Mr. Quince, are we ready to roll with our conversation with Kim Jordan, the co-executive director of the Philadelphia Orchard Project?
Roger that.
Wonderful. So let's begin with Kim telling us a little bit about her role at the Philadelphia Orchard Project and the services that they're offering.
I have been involved with POP, Philadelphia Orchard Project. We call it POP, P-O-P. And I've been involved with the organization since it started in 2007. I met the people that started organizing it volunteering on a political campaign. And when that ended, we sort of wanted to move on to the next thing. And this wonderful community organizer and brilliant person, Paul Glover, he was the initial founder, convened groups of people around the city to have some potlucks to talk about sort of the crisis of our city, which unfortunately still continues. There are many, many vacant lots. There are many people in poverty, and there are many people who are unable to access fresh and healthy food. And so his idea was, well, we can use this crisis, these vacant lots that happened, as the city moved from being really an industrial center and had a lot of factories close. People moved out due to white flight, a lot of various issues leading up to how the city is now, and it's growing, but yeah, so there still remain tens of thousands of vacant lots. And so his idea was to establish community orchards that would be able to turn empty space, empty lots into productive green spaces that people from the neighborhood could participate in caring for. They could walk by and pick a piece of fresh fruit on the way to school or work in the morning. And it would really help to bring communities together. And so I started out as a volunteer. I volunteered for a couple of years. I joined as a member of the board in 2009, and I served on the board through 2016. So I really got to see the organization grow from an all-volunteer run group to where we are now with multiple staff members and 65 different sites across the city. And so I started working for POP in 2019 as development director, so really focusing on fundraising. And now I'm serving alongside Phil Forsyth, who's the founding executive director, who, again, I've worked with, for many years through my capacity as a board member and a volunteer. And so now we serve as co-executive directors to sort of share that leadership role and help this organization keep growing.
POP also has a long list of resources available online at their website, phillyorchards.org, such as curriculum for teachers. She's going to next tell us a little bit about that.
I work with any group, regardless of need. And for most of our partners, that means that we end up doing a good portion, most or all of the fundraising required to plan, plant, and help with ongoing maintenance of their orchard sites. So, we really go through a process where we first make sure that there's a space that works. Does it have good access to sunlight? Is there water? Is someone going to be watering it, in the summer? And is there an invested group or, group of individuals or community organization that is going to be caring for this space? And so that idea of, that we would come in, we would work with them to do community outreach, we would do the design, community informed design, put the space in, talk with them about how they use it, how they see it being used and such, and then move on to the next site. Well, we realized that, that is not going to happen. Most people don't have a lot of expertise about how to grow and care for fruit trees. And there's a lot of groups that focus on annual plants, whereas we really focus on perennials. So it's not just fruit trees that we're planting. We do fruit trees, nut trees, berry bushes, vines, pollinator gardens, perennial vegetables like asparagus and rhubarb, and just a wide variety of things that, also give back to the soil, that help the other plants around them grow. And not a lot of people have knowledge about that. So, we started with pest and disease focused resources, because that's the biggest challenge that people have. And then sort of as we continued growing and we saw, our different partners have different needs. So we have currently 13 school partners, ranging from grades kindergarten through 12th grade. So started developing. Our education director, with the help of volunteers and interns, has been working on curriculum development for all of those age groups. And the one that you mentioned for kids with special needs, we work with a school, Overbrook School for the Blind. They have very extensive gardens and orchard, and they are wonderful partners on developing this curriculum and helping to get it into wider use.
With POP being founded in 2007, I was wondering if there's any long-term effects of folks who had been in the program early on and then moving on into a career with fruit trees.
We did start in the past few years an orchard apprenticeship program. And so that's trying to, get young people interested in horticulture and train them in orchard care practices. And so one of our former orchard apprentices is now an orchard director with POP. And the other one, so we've only had 2 so far. And the other one is he's volunteering with POP currently, and he is trying to start a workforce development program in Philadelphia called Power Corps. And so they place young adults in various city departments. So he was at the Parks and Recreation Department. They also can work with the Water Department, and there might be another department as well. So,
considering that Philadelphia, Pennsylvania is a huge urban center on the east coast of the U.S., I asked Kim if she knew anything about the population that they were serving in terms of demographics.
Looking at the range of our partners, we work with city park sites, community gardens, houses of worship. We work with schools. We work with some hospitals. Work with other urban farms. It's a pretty wide range of partners. And so for, some of those we know, some of those sites, for example, the city schools, they do have demographic information. And so we know that those sites, most of them are serving low-income populations, students of color. But for the other sites, we don't know because, we're not there all the time. So one of the ways that we're trying to just make it a little bit easier for people to get involved is, it seems like a simple thing, but not all of our orchards had signs up. So we printed signs that we distributed to our partners that where it has a little space where they can fill in, the site name. And then if they have a regular volunteer day so that people know they can come back. Because, if we're trying to find people that live in the neighborhoods that we're serving, they might not, they might not go to a website. They might not see, if there's go to this website to get more information. But if there's a sign or they happen to see people there, and they're like, oh, every second Saturday, great, I can come back.
Collaborating with organizations and schools, designing orchard projects, planting the orchards themselves, and then making sure they're watered all summer long is just some of the work that the Philadelphia Orchard Project oversees. But come fall, it's all about the harvest and the festivals.
Oh yeah, that's those are some of our most favorite outreach events. So the Pop Harvest program came about in trying to combat food insecurity. We realized that a lot of the things that we plant are also planted all around the city. They might have been planted by city tree planting program. So, for example, service berries are a widely planted street tree. Not everyone knows that they're edible. So one of the Pop Harvest events that we do every year, we call Juneberry Joy. And we're trying to do education, let people know what these trees look like, where they can find them. So this year we actually put out a map because some of those are in the tree inventory. Some of them are just ones that we know about that we added. So for ones that are on, publicly accessible land, not in someone's yard or anything, we're encouraging people to go out there, and we usually try to coordinate group harvests where we'll get a bunch of people together, we'll harvest a bunch of berries, and then the fruit will either be donated to a program like Sunday Suppers, which does family dinners and sort of nutrition education, or we've worked with various local partners that create, an ice cream or a dessert or a beverage or something like that with Juneberries to, again, it's sort of an awareness campaign. Mm-hmm. And then they'll donate a portion of their proceeds back to POP to support our ongoing work. So generally we're trying to encourage people to go in groups. This year, obviously, it's different. So we're just trying to help people know where some trees are located and how to identify them and how to use the fruits. And so some of the other things that we've done with Pop Harvest are mulberries. We do crab apples. So the University of Pennsylvania actually has a ton of crab apples that have larger than usual fruit and a ton of Juneberry trees. And they've given us the map of, where all the trees are located on their campus and have said, please come pick them. Not so much this year, maybe by the fall. But yeah, for them, it's we have to clean up less, waste. And then it's actually getting put into good use.
The crab apples are something that folks do use in making cider because they're so astringent and have that tannic structure. So how would you be using your crab apples then?
In previous years, one of the people / groups that we work with, last year they had a community kitchen. I don't think that they do anymore, but they're still doing a lot of work with food distribution. Right now, they've been doing several weekly giveaways, and they do have access to commercial kitchens. So anyway, last year they made a crab apple butter. Sunday Suppers, so I mentioned, they've done applesauce, and it might have been a mix of regular apples and crab apples. I didn't really get the details on that.
I bet. Yeah.
That
makes sense.
Yeah, and then there's other things that you can't eat right off the bush. What are they called? They're very astringent berries. Chokeberries.
Right, Arona berry. Yeah.
Yeah. So those are another commonly planted landscaping plant around the city. Hawthorns, there's a lot of those. Various nuts as well. So it's that one is trying to increase the amount of nutritious food that people are able to access, even if it's things that we haven't planted. And unless the orchard partners are inviting people directly, we're not telling people, we know that this tree is ripe at this site, go pick them, because that's not really how it works. Yeah. So yeah, it's basically, trying to expand that, trying to expand what's available.
This is what it's all about, creating a sustainable society where you can walk down the streets of a city and have the option to pick a piece of fruit from a tree. Thank you so much, Kim Jordan. She is, once again, the co-executive director of the Philadelphia Orchard Project. You can find links to her and the information at the show notes for this here episode 228. Or you could just Google it at phillyorchards.org. There you'll find a resource page with a list of the curriculum that they have available. And I did see one that was talking about funky fermentation. So that's something to note. And if you know a teacher, or you are a teacher, or perhaps a farm educator, this is a website to know about, because as we move forward into our virtual world and our non-virtual world, thank you, we need each other and we need these resources. So it's a wonderful organization, and I do know that there are other urban projects around the world, and if you work at one and would like to send in an audio snapshot of the work that you're doing, do let me know. Contact me, Rhea, at ciderchat.com. Well, now, I thought I was just going to be sending out a little reminder to all of you folks out there in Ciderville to send in your audio snapshots from your different spots around the world. But wouldn't you know it, as I was getting ready to say just that, in came another audio snapshot, and it's from Emily Ritchie. She is the executive director of the Northwest Cider Association. And coming up this week, on June 18th through the 28th, is the Oregon Cider Week. So let's listen to her little audio snapshot now. Take it away, Emily.
Hey, Rhea. It's Emily Ritchie from the Northwest Cider Association. Boy, it has been a rough few months, but we're excited for Oregon Cider Week to launch this week. It's June 18th to the 28th. We have a full list of events now at OregonCiderWeek.com, as well as on our Facebook page at OR Cider Week, or you can always follow us at NW Cider. But this year, things are looking a little different from the rest of our cider weeks have ever been. So the 9th annual has been turned on its head. We are celebrating distanced and curbside and virtually and from home. We have events that will keep people safe, but also entertained, and we want people to have some fun because we deserve it. It has been a rough few weeks, months, really. So tune in from anywhere now, because so much of the content is accessible online. You don't have to be in Oregon. We've got restaurants that are working with us to serve special pizza pairings and special dinner menus, but we also have a lot of cideries selling online now, and actually on our website, nwcider.com/map, you can in fact filter to find out which companies sell online. And a lot of them are offering virtual Meet the Maker events right now. You can buy from them in advance and then tune in and taste their natural cider or their Cidre Boucher, aka cubed cider, or new releases. So you can actually meet folks virtually this way from your home, anywhere you are. So join us for OregonCiderWeek.com and find out what makes Oregon cider so special.
Thanks, Emily. It's great hearing from you. Again, she's talking about the Oregon Cider Week. You can check it out online at OregonCiderWeek.com. It's beginning June 18th through the 28th. And if you'd like to send in your audio snapshot from your special spot in Ciderville, just like Emily and Robert did on this here episode, well, don't hesitate. Just send it my way to Rhea at ciderchat.com. And if you are a writer or an aspiring writer and would like to send an essay my way, well, please do that too, because I know we would all love to hear some of your good work and good cheer. This is Rhea Windcaller signing off for now. Looking forward to seeing you in Ciderville.
We like cider, we like palms, we love orchards and having fun. fun. There is a reason.
There is a reason why we do it like this.
Oh yes, there is.
There is a reason why we do it like this.
Oh yes, there is.
There is a reason why we drink it like this.
Oh yes, there is. There is a reason. We like walking through the orchards, dancing in the streets, smelling all the blossoms, kicking up our feet. We like cider. We like palms. We like orchards, having some fun. There is a reason.
There is a reason why we do it like this. Oh yes, there is.
There is a reason why we do it like this.
Oh yes, there is.
There is a reason why we drink it like this.
Oh yes, there is.
There is a reason. We like walking through the orchards, dancing in the streets, smelling all the blossoms, kicking up our feet.
Oh yeah.
We like cider.
Oh yes, we do.
We like palms.
Oh yes, we do.
We love orchards, having some fun. There is a reason. There is a reason why we do it like this.
Ba-da-da-dum.
There is a reason why we do it like this.
Ba-da-da-dum.
There is a reason why we drink it like this.
Ba-da-da-dum.
Ba-da-da-dum. We like walking down the orchards, dancing in the streets, smelling all the blossoms, kicking up our feet.
Oh yeah.
We like cider.
Ba-da-da-dum.
We like palms.
Oh yes, we do.
We like orchards, having some fun.
Yeehaw!